It's showtime.
You're so sussy. I know you took my Fortnite.
Hello and welcome all, where today we'll be talking about one of my favorite pastimes. Now that I think about it, oh my gosh, I think I might be sleep deprived. Anywho though, that's not what we're talking about. Today, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite psychological horror video games of all time, Silent Hill. Today we'll be covering Silent Hill, a brief summary of it, but also talking about its effect in terms of influencing other video games, its touch on the culture and the community. So turn the lights down, get the volumes up, grab your favorite snacks, and get ready as we take a trip into Silent Hill itself. February 23rd, 1999 was the releasing date of Silent Hill, the most influential psychological horror game of all time. If not all time, it's definitely up there. As for what the games are about, that's a whole new rabbit hole to delve deeper into. The games as a whole have you as the main player discovering different environments, whether it be snow-like worlds and rusted metallic looking, almost hell-like worlds, if you will, just because the grounds are rusted and metallic. Meanwhile, it's very hard to see just because it's that cloaked in darkness. Some of them aren't cloaked in darkness, however. Some of them are just shades of gray, whether it be light or dark, and then some of them are just shades of orange. However, what the games all have in common is usually the protagonist uncovering or maybe just looking deeper into themselves, whether it's to overcome some trauma or whether it's to overcome even grief. The story points of Silent Hill, or at least the plot points of Silent Hill, are kind of up for debate, just because while some of them are just really simple, some of them make no sense, or some of them are just leaving you hungry for more. What can stand the test of time for the games, however, is always the gameplay, just because the gameplay in execution seals the deal for what Silent Hill is as a concept and as a town, but also as a game series. As given the time of Silent Hill's releasing, games like Resident Evil or much more like it were coming out at the time, whereas Silent Hill, being Silent Hill, wanted to choose to remain more somewhat grounded but also more psychological. You see, Silent Hill wasn't attracting players to play in a mansion with zombies and monsters, but rather in a almost haunted town, if you will. God, I suck at speaking. I apologize in advance. but a haunted town that had ghosts of your past, things that you had thought you buried long ago, but now here comes this town coming to throw it right back in your face, and now you're forced to confront it, or maybe even be consumed by it. However, what always piqued my interest and what always made everything about Silent Hill stand out was the soundtrack, was the ambience, the atmosphere, whether it be in Silent Hill or whether it be in a place like Silent Hill that took place in the games. That, and of course, the feedback of the fans, what they loved about the games, what they adored about the games, what had them always coming back for more to the games. And you see, Silent Hill worked. The plot points may not have been that strong, where it was breathtakingly Oscar-winning, gorgeous, but the execution, the soundtrack, and everything I just listed, it worked. It didn't just work. It did numbers, whether on the community of the fans or even people who played the game and were heavily inspired by it. Some games that stand out, probably some of my favorites that I would highly recommend: Dementium the Ward, Alan Wake, Evil Within, Dead Space 2, Amnesia the Dark Descent, and The Sinking City. These are just a small collective handful of games that I adore that are inspired by Silent Hill. Can you think of the amount of movies, books, heck, even the next generation of video games to continuously be inspired by Silent Hill itself? Which, at the time of this video, I believe there's a new Silent Hill game fixing to come out, Silent Hill F. But my point still stands. All of this since 1999, and all we have to thank is Silent Hill, just for being what it was, which is a very influential psychological horror game that inspired not just games, but even movies and probably literature too. We just talked on it being an influential psychological horror game, and in my opinion, one of the most, probably the best one of all time. But again, it's my opinion and it's up for debate. However, the second point I made was about how it delves into mental health, which the previous topics kind of touched on that. And again, the games do also touch on that too, with some characters even having some very traumatic backstories, or some of them even delving deeper into themselves, almost, if you will, causing a mental spiral, if you will. However, what's fascinating is the fans behind it, or at least the fans of the games. Maybe I'm wrong about this one, but there's a subreddit that I read before this video just for more research that, while reading, it kind of just made me proud to be a Silent Hill fan. With how many people praising the soundtrack, but also the atmosphere, the very things that made me fall in love with Silent Hill, some of them even using the game and the game soundtrack as an escape from, whether it be, I guess, a 9-to-5, or an escape from, I guess, life as a whole. And while it may come off as a little sad, it's honestly beautiful, if you will. As a game and as a community, it's almost breathtaking. I mean, if you need any more proof, there's no better proof I have other than some YouTube playlists that are all centered around Silent Hill, its ambiance and its soundtrack, creating what is widely a very effective playlist. That, and also, if you need any more proof, I highly suggest playing the games themselves. But that's going to conclude today's video. I hope I was able to make sense in this video, and I hope I was able to make it educational while also making it entertaining. That'll be all for today.